I just recently read a memoir called The Boy in the Woods by Maxwell Smart, and here's how it went. The Boy in the Woods is a very interesting and compelling memoir that mixes together a survival story of a young Jewish boy who is torn apart by his family and has to survive in the woods in rural Poland during the Second World War, all the way until him making it to Canada and finally finding his new life in artistry. What's really interesting about this book is that it gives me a perspective on another survival story of the Jewish experience during World War II in Poland that I've never read before. I've read a lot about the Jewish experience in Auschwitz and the Warsaw Ghetto. I've never read an account about a child who actually gets away and survives and maintains that survival and is essentially dodging Nazis and Ukrainian nationalists all at once. The images in this book, as you can imagine, are pretty brutal because we're dealing with his life just when the war starts. The other part of this book that was also really intriguing is that you learn a little bit about how he survived after the war, even though he essentially loses his entire family. However, it is really short. It's like 150 pages and the writing is quite big, and so I read it very quickly and gained a lot from it, but I felt like I gained a lot from it because I have a pretty good understanding of the picture of this war already. And even though it was kind of lacking in detail, maybe it was because he wrote this book so much later in his life and maybe he didn't tap into the memories of this story as much as he wanted to, which fair enough, it's extremely traumatizing. It didn't really go into the historical context very much. It was very much his experience. Regardless of the fact that it was short and it lacked a little bit of detail, it is still very important to read these books because it helps preserve and put the stories of these people into the legacy of World War II, which if you think about it, even though there's so many books out there as it relates to the Jewish experience and survival during World War II, in general survival during World War II, not everyone has told their stories. So thanks Maxwell Smart for putting this story on paper and finally doing it. If you read the prologue of this book, you'll know that it took him a very long time to decide to write this down and actually tell his story. So just for that alone, you should definitely read this. So read this book if you're interested in a story like that.